Jai Jagannath. So today we are talking about which subject you want to discuss.
Okay, I want to discuss about Vaishnava Aparadha.
Oh,
Does it,
right. Yeah.
so does it have the potency to make you fall? And if yes, how?
Yes.
Because in some cases, what would happen? Let's say you are discussing based on your understanding of dharma that okay, somebody is doing wrong, but he may be doing it considering that as dharma. So how that thing would work? Like,
Yes.
would you fall?
Yes. Okay. So we have three types of aparadha. Manasika, Vachika, and Saririka. So the Manasika aparadha is when you disrespect, you're not showing respect to a person. The the mental offense, which is not a big deal. Then we have the verbal offense, that is, speaking ill of that person, which means saying that person is bad, or slandering that person, means telling lies. Slander means that if if that person is innocent, whatever bad things you say, lies you say about that person, that's offensive. Like, for example, I know some people who were circulating, some people who consider themselves Vaishnavas were circulating the rumor that I was having sex with my son, which of course is not true, because come on, really. you know and it's very gross and it's very bad, and because they didn't like the fact that I could be competition to their organization. So this is verbal opera, because you slander someone, you circulate false rumors, you accuse someone of something they didn't do. Now, it is not an offense if it is true. So if we say that so and so was raping the children in the Gurukula, and that has been completely ascertained, that's not an aparadha. It's a fact. Now, the physical aparadha is when you actually attack a person. You beat them up, you put a bomb in their house, or outside their house, you get the police to harass them, bribe the police, you pay some gundas to, whatever. That is physical offense. All these forms are increasingly serious. So while the mental offense, it's Kali Yuga, we cannot really take everything seriously. The verbal offense can be more problematic, especially if it goes to damage your seva, your service. And of course, the physical offense, the physical attack, the aggression of any type is even worse. Now, the real problem here is what we mean by Vaishnava. Now, there is a weird idea among some people that a Vaishnava is someone who has been legally recognized by the government or by some organization as a Vaishnava. Or, by dint of, any other material evaluation. So we have the ironic situation in which the real criminals are accusing innocent, and sincere Vaishnavas of Vaishnava parade because they're offending they're saying that the criminals are doing criminal activities, which has been verified and demonstrated and gone, on the newspapers and gone in court. Everybody knows. Okay, so this is the problem. And the Vaishnava parade is destroying one's, the punya, the good karma, any advancement and everything. So, for example, when we find people who commit serious offenses against, for example, the greatest Vaishnava, Mahadev, Shiva Mahadev, and they think they're being more Vaishnavas than others. They're purer because they're offending Mahadev, who is just a paltry demigod, like Jnana Mishra Bhakta in Sakyara. So this is not even a real devotee. So what do you think will happen to these people? Now, several years ago, I had an encounter with the Tripurari Swami, who is an official guru of ISKCON, who, I got in touch with him through one of my old students who, went to his camp. So, this Tripurari Swami was saying, that Shiva is Jnana Mishra Bhakta in Sakyaras, and Tripurari was saying, I'm a greater Vaishnava than Shiva because I'm a pure devotee in Madhurya Ras, and I'm a guru, pure devotee in Madhurya Ras. And what do you think will happen to this person? And the funny thing is his name is Tripurari, which is a name. Yeah, right. You got the joke. The joke is on him. Because why his guru Bhaktivedanta Swami gave him the name Tripurari? There must have been some reason why. So, then I proceeded to explain to him that he was totally out of, of his gourd. It was totally wrong because, first of all, Mahadev is Gopishwara, and he's the Kshetrapala, so no one can enter the Rasa Mandal without the permission of Shiva Mahadev, without offering worship to Shiva Mahadev. So, he is not exactly Madhurya. I don't think he's in Madhurya Rasa. This guy, this Tripurari Swami. Mm-hmm. So, this is a perfect example of Vaishnava parade. Takes away the brain of people. They cannot even see where they're standing. So, sometimes on Quora I get, some questions that are so offensive, because they think, these stupid people think that, because they are conditioned by the Abrahamic idea that if they fight against the other gods, then their own God will win. Because in the Bible, Yahweh says that, or Allah in the Quran, whatever. He says that you have to destroy all the other gods. In the Ten Commandments, you will not have any other god. I am the only God. If you have any other god, you go to hell. And that's what these people think. During one congress in Hyderabad, I was invited by RSS. I had the opportunity to meet Sudarshanji, who was at that time he was the head. And he was telling me, these people are saying that if someone worship Shivas, they go to hell. Yeah, that's exactly the point. They think that if they show their exclusive, pure devotion to Krishna, then they have to disrespect. Of course, they must disrespect. Shiva, Durga, even Vishnu. Because they take this idea that when the gopis were looking for Krishna, Krishna appeared to them in the form of Narayan, and the gopis didn't care for Narayan. They just say, oh, Narayan, thank you, please tell us, where did Krishna go? But that's, the Bhagavata Purana doesn't say that the gopis disrespected Narayan. These people have become, very Abrahamic. So, as I say, when you make a package, Bhaktivedanta, Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda, they made a package. That could be accepted, digested, passed, by the colonial regime that was not exactly Hindu friendly. So that's why, Yogananda was going around with a crucifix on his neck. That's why Vivekananda said that, if I met Jesus, I would wash Jesus' feet with the blood from my heart. Because it were colonial times. And also in the beginning, when Bhaktivedanta Swami went to preach to United States, practically 99.9% of the people in the United States were Christians. Just at that time, in the 60s, the beginning of the 70s, the Christianity started to lose a lot. In the United States and in the West in general. So now, practically speaking, a very small number of people actually identify as Christians, or at least, they want to support Christianity. So they're very interested in the Vedic message. So they're more interested in Vedic knowledge than in Christianity. Not only with Vedic knowledge, but also all forms of paganism. Look at what happened with all the neo-pagan, reconstructionists and what not. So that means that people are not really, interested. Like I was going through the news and I saw this, this article that lots of churches, have been abandoned and they're turned into, apartments or pizzerias even, so we don't need to appease Christians anymore. The problem is that these people who have made a cultural superimposition of Vaishnavism over their Abrahamic ideas, they don't know what they're doing. They're just taking Krishna's face and pasting it over the the Bible guy, and they take Chaitanya's face and they're pasting it over Jesus' face. So they still have Jesus and the old Abrahamic guy, and they think they're Vaishnavas. In fact, not only they have been saying increasingly that Jesus and even Muhammad were pure Vaishnavas, but now they're even showing that they're even avatars of Vishnu. So when we are talking about offenses, like, oh, okay, it's situation is complicated. So the best thing is all the Bhakti Shastras, all the genuine acharyas, including Bhaktivedanta, are saying you should not associate with people you cannot respect. There are different degrees of respect. When you see someone, it is true. Krishna Chaitanya said, Trinada pi sunichana taroriva sahishnuna amani namana dena kirtanya sada hari. One should be always very humble, like the grass in the street, very tolerant, like a tree, and never expect honors, but always be ready to respect others. But that doesn't mean that we need to approve and applaud and encourage criminals who go around, with a T-shirt, with the, saying I'm a Vaishnava, because, being a Vaishnava is not something, it's not a label. Rupa Goswami clearly said, Sarvapadi vinirmuktam, tatparatvena nirmalam bhakti ruchate. Bhakti means being free from all labels. So why you want to sell the labels who is a Vaishnava and who is not? Who gave them the monopoly license to sell the labels? You're a Vaishnava, you're not a Vaishnava. It's nonsense. Vaishnava is who Vaishnava does. And this was explained very clearly also by Bhaktisiddhanta. He wrote this famous booklet, Vaishnava Ke. Who is a real Vaishnava? Because, of course, there's a lot of confusion. People want to put labels, and then these labels are usually a matter of politics and money. Nothing else. Nothing else. So, unfortunately, this is what happens. So the best thing is, to keep some distance from people we don't really know. We don't, we cannot verify what they actually are, but they don't feel right. Because Paramatma is there, right? Paramatma is there. So when you don't feel right about someone, you see that they're doing or saying something weird. Now, if you want to go deeper, you can humbly approach them and ask questions, ask, explanations, The problem is that when you ask a question from someone who is actually a criminal, they will attack you. They will say that you are the offender because you don't believe them. It's, I don't know, in the United States and in general in all the English-speaking world, we have seen in the last few months the big case of the court case in the United States in Virginia, Fairfax County, the court case between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Yeah. And Amber Heard is a perfect picture of the narcissist that gets angry because you don't believe her. They have brought so much evidence against her, and still she is protesting. It's unfair because why you don't believe me? And this is the same mentality. When people actually, they do bad stuff, and then you ask them, and then you have a lot of evidence, not rumors, because rumors, anybody can invent anything, but actual evidence. You know that in the United States, one big organization that we don't mention declared bankruptcy. So to avoid paying the damage, after the court order, they were sentenced to pay damages to a number of former Gurukula students who had been seriously abused. So they declared bankruptcy, so not to pay. Is that the behavior of a Vaishnava? I don't think so. I don't know if this is what you wanted to ask.
Yeah, similar on these lines only. But in this, whatever we discussed, I have a couple of other questions from this.
Sure, please.
So
please.
one thing is, one of the Naam Aparadhis said that those who are propagating the holy names of the Lord should not commit offenses. But in a way, what these people are doing, though they disrespect other devatas, but on the other hand, they are doing some good things, right? Propagating the holy names, they are attracting others. So,
of course, yeah.
So still, if we
exactly, I see. The point is that exactly why we should not associate with them. Because if we don't associate with them, we are not at risk of committing offenses. Because whatever good things they're doing, okay, let them do. The problem is that the Shastras say that it is offensive, to show respect to bad people. You go and find, it's a Shastra, because when you show respect to bad people, you are actually disrespecting the really good people. And you get, if you support them, you get a share of their karma. So this is the reason why, I usually prefer to talk about other subjects. I prefer to talk about the teachings of Krishna and Bhagavad Gita. I prefer to talk about the philosophy, the science that is behind, that is the Vedic knowledge. I am not going around and, printing millions of copies of magazines, making a list of what this and that are doing. I don't care. The problem is we need to save the innocent, or maybe we should say ignorant, naive people who are going to get in trouble because they don't know what the real situation is, because they don't know the instruments. And at the same time, we also need to create an alternative. That is why I am telling everyone that I'm not an ISKCON-wala. I'm a Hindu. I'm an Orthodox Hindu, Whether they believe it or not is, not exactly my problem. But we need to create an alternative when people, because so many of these good people we are talking about, they're doing good things, are not the leaders. They're the rank and file devotees who don't have any other option. Because I don't think that other groups are, giving this, a similar opportunities for engagement. Because in ISKCON you can become a devotee 100%. You can really get serious with your sadhana. You can really live in the ashram, live in the temple, and be 100% immersed in service. You can do that. I don't see any other place where you can do that. Gaudiya Math, okay, but they're not so lively, because they tend to be more boring. So Bhaktivedanta had a very dynamic mentality. So he started prasadam restaurants and theater performances and so many books and so many this and so much that, and rock music groups, festivals, so many things. And that was brilliant, because you give everybody, everyone, an opportunity to be 100% engaged, to be happy in the proper devotional service. And the idea was to create, Bhaktivedanta had the idea to create communities. The organization was supposed to be the legal logistical structure to create self-sufficient communities where people could help each other. They were all one family. This was when Bhaktivedanta was around. So there was no madness of, who is more senior and less senior, who is a sannyasi, who is a grihastha. No, that came later. That came later. Bhaktivedanta Swami was very happy to have all his students, boys, girls, children, and everything all piled up and, doing anything they needed to do, because like a family. This was the genius. This was the genius, really genius. Then, the movement was hijacked. And we are not going deeper into this because we don't really need to. we don't need to.
Like, here you said like this, we have, like, movement is dynamic and everything is good. And on the other hand, you also said we should not associate with them. So,
well, we should not associate. What I said is, we should not associate with people we cannot respect.
Okay.
So even, I left ISKCON in practically 84. For a couple of years until 86, I was still, trying to get organized how to get out of the structure, Then, but after 86, even I continued to have, good relationship with lots of people who I could be friends with. I could cooperate. Also, I did a lot of work for people who were still inside the movement. Like, for example, I translated a lot of books for them. Some people were honest and they gave me some kind of reciprocation. You know, some other people were totally, chori. So they promised that yes, 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 and then they never gave anything. You know. So then the good people who were giving me reciprocation then found out that there was no way I was going to become their disciple. So, they stopped giving me work to do. And, I am still in contact with some people. But one by one, when it comes to people who are still in ISKCON, one by one, they just show their face. So, at that point, they say, well, what to do? Still, some former members, yeah. For example, I am having these weekly interviews with an old friend who is, former member. But, now the people who are left in the organization are just a small fraction of people who actually were members. Small fraction.
Mm-hmm.
So mostly, some people just, put up a shop by themselves, or, this or that, or they move into Egodia mats, or, so many ways. But we should not confuse the philosophy with, we should not confuse God with the church.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because the idea, the propaganda of the church is, if you are against the church, you are against God. If you don't agree with us, it means you're a mental patient. You're imbalanced. Well, how can you respect people like that? You say things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there are many good people. We can should associate as much as possible with good people we can respect. If we find people that honestly we don't feel we can respect, it's better not to associate. We shouldn't go after them, because that's not our job. Things will come up. We don't need to do that. But we should focus on our own spiritual life, our own relationship with Guru and Krishna. What other people are doing, it's very, very relative. It's not so relevant. Of course, now and then you can come across someone who was damaged by them, and okay, try to do your best. You try to, help them heal and recover and get some better view of life. Because the problem is that when people are damaged by, bad leaders, they end up, because they still believe the equation, you don't like the church, it means you don't like God. So they feel they have to stop liking God. And this is what you see in most atheists. Around the world, you go and see the vast majority of atheists that are still, very angry against all religions, because they believe the propaganda that all religions are the same. That all religions, only the Abrahamic religions are the actual model for religion. They're the normality. They're the, something that we all have to believe when we're talking about religion. Just the idea of development. Indian people have been told for so many years that they are a developing country. And it's funny because, they believed it. But India was much more developed than Europe. So it's not that India can become a more developed, a better developed country by following the non-sustainable development, that is shown by industrialization. Because again, when the electricity, when we have a blackout, we ask Alexa to open the front door, and it's not happening. That's not progress. That's not progress. So, in the same way, when people talk about religion, we have a duty to present the Vedic religion, the genuine, original Hindu religion, in the proper way. That's why, I chose, again, as I said before, I say it very often, I chose to, if I have to go around with any label, which I don't like labels, but if I have to use a label for my calling card, I describe myself as an Orthodox Hindu. Whatever. Whatever people want to, accept. But, it's a fact. For example, Bhaktivedanta Swami also, he was a genius. He did so many brilliant things. He was a pure devotee. He did a huge, benefit, to the planet and millions of people and everything. But he didn't understand the Varna system. So he was very clearly declaring in his books, in the lectures, we are not Hindus. Hindus are stupid. Hindus are, they follow the caste system that is based on birth prejudice. But no, that's not the original idea of Hinduism. Because that didn't happen until well into the Kali Yuga. So there are lots of misconceptions. They're traveling around. So okay, well, you don't like Hindus. Okay, I'm a Hindu then. So what? I don't care. And in fact, as I say, quite often,
Then
technically,
I got dropped off for the 30 seconds. I got dropped off in between because of
yeah,
my.
I know. But anyway, I was just saying that this Orthodox Hindu definition, presentation, label, if you will, it's also technically correct, because when I was in Puri, I did all the Suddhi, Prayaschitta, Diksha, everything, and it was done by the Deula Purohita of the Sri Mandir. So it is not possible to find a higher authority, Orthodox Hindu authority than that. Because the Deula Purohita is higher than the Mukti Mandapa. So, that's really orthodox. Even the Sankaracharya is not as orthodox as the Deula Purohita of the Sri Mandir. So, technically, Jagannath arranged for that for me. I'm happy, because, gave me a good platform to stand on. So if people like it or not, that's not really my problem. But it gives the actual idea of what I'm trying to do. You know, I am not, going on any crusade against anyone. The only enemy is ignorance. That's the only enemy. I am not so worried about committing offenses because, I don't talk about anyone specifically usually, if not to report mere facts. And as we were saying before, facts are not offensive. I mean, the offense is in the person, the person who's committing the fact that is making the offense, not the person who's noticing the facts. So, and even so, well, I'm not very concerned about that. So, if there are definitely many good people, but there are many good people also in all religions. There are many good people among atheists. Because, we are talking about Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma is not exactly Hinduism. And it's not exactly Vedic knowledge or Vedic culture. Sanatana Dharma is the natural, eternal, universal principles of ethics that are in our spiritual DNA. They are the conscience in every individual, every human being. Every human being, whether they come, they were born and raised and live in any place of the globe, wherever they're born, whatever color, language, so-called religion, they naturally feel the difference between what is right and what is wrong, what is good and what is evil. Unless, of course, they have been so damaged by Asuric propaganda that they become mentally deranged. But that's a different thing. But any healthy individual who has not studied anything is totally ignorant. Didn't have any training, any upbringing, doesn't know anything. So, someone, even, let's say a child. A child knows what is good and what is bad. A child sees someone crying, a child will naturally go there and try to comfort that person who's crying. Naturally. And that truthfulness is a principle of Sanatana Dharma. In all cultures, there must be some measure of truthfulness, otherwise, everything goes down the drain. Even if it is just a superficial paint, a varnish. They have to bring something up talking about truthfulness. Because otherwise nobody will follow them. So same, compassion. All religions must say something about compassion. Even if it is just a varnish, even if they don't really believe it. Because if they don't say compassion, people are not going to follow them. Because the Sanatana Dharma in each human being will tell them, this is not good, this is not religion, this is not God, this is not good people. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So this is the entire point. You know, there are some basic principles of Sanatana Dharma that are eternal. Eternal means Sanatana. You know, some people, you know, they get confused because they have a very strong material identification. So they believe that Sanatana Dharma means that Hinduism as we know it will never disappear, whatever stupid things we do. Because it's Sanatana Dharma, so, you know, it's always there. No. No. This is not the correct interpretation. So again, you know, we need to focus on Sanatana Dharma. We have the Shastra, we have the Paramatma, we have you know, our conscience, you know, and we have we can verify, we can go and verify. We have the intelligence that, you know, is God-given intelligence, God-given conscience, and that should be sufficient. You know. So we go around, you know, if we find people we can respect and people are doing good things, we can try to associate. Then in the moment when there is something wrong, we are not convinced, we can ask questions and say why you're doing it, because maybe they have very good reasons to do it, you know, because, like, for example, the example that I'm sometimes making, satyam, or truthfulness, is a basic principle of dharma, but sometimes, you know, if you want to respect the letter of the law, you end up breaking the spirit of the law, you know, because in some circumstances, you know, insisting on being technically truthful can actually bring about a very bad result. Like, for example, you know, we can say if we see a child that is running away, you know, pursued by a criminal who wants to harm the child, you know, then the child is hiding in some house. The criminal comes and asks you, did you see a child hiding somewhere? What are you going to say? You cannot say, yes, the child went to hide in that house. You cannot say that. Because that is truthful, but what the heck is the benefit of being truthful if you are facilitating adharma? You know, so you have to say, no, I didn't say anyone. You know, like Yudhishthira on the battlefield. You know, when Krishna suggested the rules to declare that Ashwatthama was dead, you know, Yudhishthira said, no, I never said, you know, never told a lie in my life. Krishna was not very happy. You know, so okay, you can go around and, you know, try to make the least possible damage, but we need to use intelligence and good sense. You know. But in general, these principles are eternal and universal. So, you know, we need to use our intelligence and common sense and honesty, you know, to say, okay, maybe, you know, that's not a good idea. You know. So that is also part of truthfulness. That is, if we stick to dharma and vidya and we just, you know, work on that, we don't need to, you know, worry about apparat, because what apparat we're doing? You know, we're doing our thing. You know, it's not a problem. But that doesn't mean that we need to support people who are violating dharma and vidya. We should not. because again, we take up some of their bad karma. We are actually offending the actual, the actual rishis, the actual good people, because we put them on the same level. But does this answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
I have one more question on similar lines. So we often heard about like Guru Kripa or mercy
Yeah.
or Acharya or Sadhu Kripa or mercy of God. So is it something outside of whatever their teachings are? Like, is it some kind of subtle energy which protects you or
Yeah, of course.
helps you, or it is in forms of their teachings only? Is it like your progress depends totally on your own effort?
Again, we have the same parameters here. Like when we are talking about guru, sadhu, or whatever, we need to talk about a real guru and a real sadhu. Okay? So if someone goes around with a t-shirt, with the writing, I am a guru, that doesn't make them a guru. Same sadhu. If someone goes around with the Om symbol on the t-shirt, that doesn't make him a sadhu. You understand? So the Guru Kripa, the blessings of the sadhus are good, because when you show respect to a good person, you're doing punya. You get something in return. You get the blessings in return. These blessings are purifying you. They're giving you strength, inspiration. Call it as you like. You can call it inspiration. Okay, we call it inspiration. Blessing is not something that you buy on the market. Okay, gave me 2 kg of blessings. No, it doesn't work like that. The blessings don't come because you give more money, or because you jump higher in the kirtan. Blessings come when the real guru, the real sadhu, the real, avatar, whatever, the deity you're worshipping, sees your sincere effort. Your honest, sincere effort, then you get the blessing. We see that in...
Can't we say from this that it is based on your own efforts only?
Yes, but your own effort is, we are never alone. We are all connected. This is the idea of Atman Brahman. We are all connected. This is the idea of particle physics. Everyone is connected. So when you make a sincere effort, you're doing your duty. You're serving Dharma. You're serving the Virat Purusha. You're serving Paramatma. You're serving Brahman. You're serving Bhagavan. And the sadhu is a representative of Bhagavan. And and the Paramatma is sitting in the heart of the sadhu, and Paramatma is sitting in your heart. So everything is connected. So your sincere effort is, of course, the important thing. But you enter into resonance. You know what resonance means? It's a
from physics point of view, I understand, but you can explain.
Yeah, resonance means a particular technical situation in which one sound or vibration influences the other objects to vibrate in the same way. It's called the diapason effect. So when you have one object that is resonating in a certain frequency, also nearby objects start to resonate in the same frequency. Because the frequency is the resonation. There are sounds. It's not always a sound that you can hear with your actual, eardrum. But it's a vibration. This vibration is, propagating very far even. We don't know. We don't know how far it is propagating. You understand? So
Yes.
our effort is important. But the moment when we do some, sincere effort, we get, our frequency resonates with everyone, with the Paramatma, with the Guru, with the Sadhu. Sadhu is happy, pleased, and his blessing. Yeah. So that's how it works. It's all connected.
Mhm.
Does it answer your question?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So basically, it is important to associate with sadhus, but they must be sadhus.
Mhm.
Because if they are sadhus themselves, but they support people who are not sadhus, that can be tricky. Can be tricky. So, there is no need to get, into a complicated web, If possible, I think that the real, solution to so many problems of, global level is to develop a very good, solid alternative that is closer to the original, genuine Hinduism, because that I have been researching on that is just perfect. We need to wash away all the cultural superimpositions, all the anarthas, all the things that are not really useful and not helping anyone. And we stay, this is the same process of yoga, We let all the vrittis of the mind fall away. So we are left with the Atman. The Atman is the real thing. Everything else is a covering, that is conditioning us to material identifications and attachments, and that is the opposite of the purpose of yoga. If the so-called yoga, whatever you call it, bhakti yoga, whatever, is creating more material identifications and more material attachments, more ahankar and mamatva, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. So, better we just drop it and we go look for something better. We'll find it if we are sincere with it. After all, Paramatma is a Paramguru. So, we be guided in the right direction, we find the right people, we find the right books, we find the right situations. That's it. Yeah. So, I am not interested in waging war against any group or individual. That's not, I think it's stupid. But, if there are facts that people should know, I think it is our duty to help people be safe from disaster. That is it. I think is necessary. Okay, any other question on the subject?
No, that's it for today.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
we can take next week.
Okay.